Ding dong. Ah, there we go.
And it's a good thing that we're live now because Alright, now we are live for episode 14 of Depths of Gaming. Yeah.
Greetings, comrades! How are you today?
Yes, we have many news item things to discuss today. By many, of course, we mean two.
Yes, as always, we bring you two topics that are very interesting, and two other topics that are just make our blood boil.
Not well. Spoiler: we only have one answer nobody wanted today, but
Ah, okay.
that's okay.
So, what are first? First,
Well, first we're going to talk
sorry for
about
today.
something that we haven't talked about for a long time. Something that no one talks about: the new edition of Warhammer.
Yay,
Yeah,
Warhammer!
no one talks about that.
Yeah, it's only been dominating our topics for what, past 6 weeks?
Yeah, we've only been talking about it for a month. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever.
something around that. So, what do we have for today?
Well, yesterday they started the pre-orders for the new edition. All of the books are on the pre-order sections of the Games Workshop website, and apparently every schmuck with the Wargaming YouTube channel has the books already and has been reading over it.
Huh. So, it's not really that much of a pre-order or an order before before the game becomes less exclusive.
Well, I love how in the past Games Workshop's been extremely secretive about its new editions, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, world, look at our new edition."
It's almost as if YouTube has something to do with it, and the fact that advertising is actually a good idea.
Yeah, well, the way they look at it is they made their money from you buying the miniatures. So
Hmm.
the more people see your painted up miniatures on YouTube, the more they effectively can make money. So I guess that's how they're looking at it. So the graphic we have up here is these are the new index books that are coming for the models that already exist. So, for instance, if you play Astra Militarum and
Hmm.
you have Imperial Guard list, that's going to be in the second Astra or the second index for Imperium, because that's all the Astra Militarum stuff. All the Space Marines are in Imperium One.
Hmm.
Orcs are in Xenos 2. I'm pretty sure Necrons and the Eldar are in Xenos 1. And all of Chaos is in one book, which is kind of nice.
So, uh,
I mean, I like that. But here's the
why,
thing.
why are they pushing away the Xenos? I don't understand that.
I don't know. This is they're acting like they haven't done Chaos versus Imperium before. Cuz
Well, because they haven't, right? It's only happened like what? All the time?
and
Which is clearly not often enough.
what I heard one of the Games Workshop people say is now the warp it has like the chaotic warp has spread so that chaos can manifest everywhere. And I thought they could already do that. So there you go. The graphic I have right up here is the new Repulsor battle tank for the Primaris Space Marines. This is not coming day one, from what I understand. This is coming later this year.
Oh.
And it appears to have on the door a door on the side for infantry. So
Mm-hmm.
it might be a combat APC. It has a turret with a gajillion guns. I like that. It apparently can use the smoke launchers. I'm just interested.
So am I. I would like to see. Still, I would like to see more Necrons because that's the um, uh, that's the race that I really enjoy. So
Well, I not much information has come out on the Necrons for the new edition, as far as I know.
which makes me sad.
Kind of makes me sad because I was hoping the Necrons would have more to them. That was kind of one of the most charming parts of Gorka Morka was that the Necrons were not big in the setting yet. They weren't formally introduced. So they were kind of frightening in Gorka Morka being this ever present doom that eventually ended the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because unlike the other specialty games for Warhammer 40k, Gorka Morka actually had a complete story arc.
Ooh, that's interesting.
It ended with the Necrons killing everyone. Literally, that when you reach the maximum power level for your warband, it's suggested that you run this match where a bunch of Necrons come in and they just fucking kill everyone because they're powerful.
Well, Necrons are not powerful. They're mostly they don't tend to they don't tend to stay dead.
Well, their weapons are really powerful. Gauss
Yeah.
flares, they they're they're good.
Well, of course there are. We are talking about the perspectives here, but still, Necrons can be defeated given enough DACA.
So now about the Dark Imperium box, which is billed as the ultimate 40k box set. Not really. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's really just the new introduction box. But the cool thing about it is it's really just new miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
They're entirely new to the setting. Their rules are also in the Imperium and Chaos books. Is their new Nurgle and Primaris units.
Oh, tell me about the Nurgle units.
So the
Mm-hmm.
new Nurgle units are the Fetid Blow Drone, the Lord of Contagion, the Malignant Plague Caster. I think is also new. The Plague Marines got new models.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's
So
like
everything is getting a facelift.
the Poxwalkers. I think are new. And the Fetid Blow Drone is definitely new. They have this cool like drone thing that spews decay at people.
Yeah, drones recently are becoming much more and more popular, don't they?
Well, yeah, robots in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so the big thing about this box is the Primaris because they're the new Space Marines. They just suddenly become frontline infantry for the Empire.
Basically, poster boys for the poster boys.
Yeah, they're the posteriest poster boys currently. And the whole thing about the Primaris is they're supposed to fulfill the few and proud motif that the Space Marines didn't really have despite having.
Mm-hmm.
Because the notion was that there aren't that many Space Marines left. And I guess they figured after all this time of Space Marines dying left and right, they might as well make more.
I thought that they were making more constantly by recruiting people from like Forge Worlds and
Well, they
basically
do,
recruiting.
but they keep dying. But these worlds keep getting lost.
Well,
Like Sanguinus was lost, I think. Cadia's just got lost, I think. Um, Stuff like that. And in his infinite wisdom, all of the new Primaris chapter worlds are right in the way of the Indominus Crusade, which is the
which is
new
the crusade
which is the
led
new
by
crusade that just started.
is it the Chaos Crusade or the actual the
Oh, this is our
Human Crusade?
this is a human crusade, the
Ah,
Indominus
so, yeah.
Crusade.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's Guilliman's fuck you to everything else.
Well, you see, uh, I, I am very stumped at the very idea that Gulliman has improved on the Space Marines, right?
Right. They have new
Because
organs.
he done something that the God Emperor himself didn't do.
Right.
And that kind of tickles me the wrong way.
Well, the thing is, the God
Also, the
Emperor
fact that he's
made...
spreading those Primaris to all the chapters.
Yes.
I think that he is the agent of chaos. He spread his Chaos Marines to all the chapter, and they are all waiting for Order 44.
Yeah, that's... Well, the very second I understood how the Primaris Marines were made, all I could think of is the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got a very Order 6060 clone trooper vibe to it.
Yeah, Order 66, yeah.
Because the thing about the Primaris is they're these new well, they're not clones, but they're super soldiers. They're all in all of the new groups, and the old soldiers just have to nod and say, "Welcome, new brothers." And
Yeah, just accept them.
they have new chapters, and suddenly there's whole chapters of these Marines now. And the thing about Gulliman is that he never really liked the way the military was built. So the fact that he basically remaking the Space Marines is kind of worrying from a fluff perspective, because people have always given Games Workshop shit for championing the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
Always.
Who was the original poster child for the Empire? It wasn't Blood Ravens. They came into the picture with the video games.
No, it was always the Ultramarines.
Always?
For the longest time.
I swear that in the beginning it was something like the Imperial Fists.
It might have been the Imperial Fist, but I have always seen the blue and gold.
Oh, Smurfs as far as the eye can see and as far as the mind can remember.
Yes. Thank you, Matt Ward.
I guess you're welcome.
So the main thing about these new Primaris is they've got the Intercessors, which are the infantry role. They come in squads of 5 and only 5, and they have the new call pattern bolt rifles. They get AP -1, which means they can threaten light armor. And yeah, models that get 6 or 5 up hate bolt rifles.
Fascinating.
The Hellblasters also come in fives, but unlike previous units, these guys all come with the same weapon.
Oh.
Yeah, they all have plasma guns. And these plasma guns bring forth the new change to the rules where weapons with the gets hot rule, it's usually an option now.
Yes, I remember something about that. Well, people usually, when they see that a weapon that gets hot, right, every time you try to fire it, and every time you try to fire it, it has a chance to explode on you.
Yeah.
They tend not to use those.
Well,
Which,
you could roll bad, get a bunch of ones, and you take more damage than they did.
hmm but what did they do to it?
Well, now they can fire safely, but you have the option of declaring that you are supercharging them. I believe the damage and AP no, it's either the strength and the AP or the strength and the damage increases by one, but the gets hot rule of old comes into play, where if you roll a one, mortal wound.
hmm
Or no, I think they're just removed from play. They just die.
Oh,
Yeah,
just eviscerated.
yeah. They explode,
Sounds cool.
and that's not unique to the Hellblasters. That's just all plasma guns. That's my understanding of it. Is is they all get to do that.
I wonder how plasma weapons are going to work on vehicles now.
Well, they the AP is kind of minor. However, the damage isn't. I believe they do 2 damage. And so a squad of Hellblasters, if they all hit and all wound, then they can destroy any tank they need to.
Decent.
Because
If they hit, and if they do not blow up on their own.
because vehicles have a standard of around 8 to 12 hit points in this edition, or wounds rather, is my understanding. Like dreadnoughts have 8. I believe the Lehman Russes now, I've heard they have like 12. And so they have a lot of wounds, but some weapons can also do a lot of damage.
Hmm.
Especially when you get to the Titan-y stuff. Like Titans can raffle stomp armor.
Titans don't. I feel a certain amount of pain right now whenever Titans are mentioned.
But I heard they're called the Questor Imperialis now because it would be confusing if they didn't change the name of the departments every edition, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because originally they were the Adeptus Titanicus, and then they got renamed to the Imperial Knights at some point, and now they're the Questor Imperialis.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun edition.
Yeah, they are introducing a lot of new concept games workshop.
Well,
And
they did away with templates. They they did a they standardized everything so that you can just look at the data slate and you know what your unit can do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to help from a playability standard and just learning the game, because you can hand a guy 3 data slates and you can go, everything those guys can do, it's on there. Uh, the exception being heavy weapons teams of some kinds. Now you actually have to give them the index too, the index of weapons. But that's easy enough. Just Sharpie the weapons that you take. So, their plan for this edition is to release a yearly book called Chapter Approved.
Chapter approved.
Chapter Approved.
I guess.
And I think this is kind of awkward old habit for them. And the reason I think it's an awkward old habit is they've proved in the past that they can do e-zines, because they had Black Gobbo for the longest time, and I used to read Black Gobbo even though I had no stake in Warhammer at all. I just read it because it was interesting. So I think they should just bring something like that back instead of. I mean, I get it. They can just put all of their e-zine stuff in a book after they prove it works, and then say, "Hey, here's the yearly addendum book." But I don't know. I think it's a little clunky, and it's an old habit for them to release yearly books when they have better means of doing it. All right.
So, that's it for the Warhammer rules?
That's Warhammer for now. So,
Okay. What else do we have?
The Supreme Court ruled against Lexmark last week.
That's interesting.
So
what did they do? What did Lexmark pissed off the Supreme Court about?
Lexmark pissed off the Supreme Court by explaining that they have the right to own their cartridges and for refills, despite having sold them to users, because they had this contract that you would sign in order to join their refill program, and you end up saving 20% off, but you can't. You have to give them their the cartridge.
The old cartridge, yeah. I believe it was the environmental kind of recycling part. They basically sugarcoated with recycling. Keyword.
Yeah, is they're trying to get you to give them back the cartridge so that they can fill it up for a few bucks and make another 10.
Yeah, so why did why did Lexmark went to the court for this? Why? What happened?
Well, they were dragged in by Impression Products Incorporated.
I see. Well, maybe it's not like they were dragged in. They dragged themselves into that by dragging the Impression products with them. And they were fighting and fighting because they believe that it's their right to own something after they sold it.
Okay, so I'm looking at the court case syllabus.
Oh.
Yeah. Program cartridges that Lexmark had sold within the U.S. Lexmark argued that because it expressly prohibited reuse and resale of these cartridges, impression products infringed the Lexmark patents when it refurbished and resold them. Oh, I see. So they were dragging people into court because they were violating the stupid rule that Lexmark had.
Yeah, basically, Letmark stated on their own, like on their authority, that no one can modify this product after it's sold because it's part of the client-seller agreement. But the impressions,
Yeah, you know that joke where they can put anything on the EULA and like they can steal your soul? It turns out that's actually just a joke.
yeah.
They
Too bad
can't.
Lexmark didn't know about that.
Yeah, they thought it wasn't, but it's actually a joke. They can't do anything like that. If for instance, if you wrote in your EULA, you have to give me $100. They can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's not enforceable.
they cannot force the client who signed the EULA to into basically into turning the product into a service, which a lot of companies would like to do. They do not want to sell you a product; they want to sell you a service, and this is going to come. Please put a pin in that because we're going to take it around into the gaming world soon enough. The most astute of you who are listening are probably know what this is going to. So yeah, so what happened? What was the ruling of the Supreme Court? Necro.
Well, I'm seeing a mix of both. It said Lexmark exhausted its patent rights in the return program cartridges that it sold. A patentee's decision to sell a product exhausts all of its patent rights in that item, regardless of any restrictions they purport. So
So in
basically,
other
what we just
words,
said is that you can't just say, "This is my rule when you buy this that I still own it." No, you don't. Uh,
yeah, basically once you buy something, you own it, and the uh, company that owns the patent to the products no longer holds patent rights to the product that was
so
sold.
the
So
result being,
you own it.
so the result being, even if the contract set with Lexmark says no, under the law, uh, you do not get your patent rights after you've sold it. The Patent
Mm-hmm.
Right Act guarantees the right to exclude others from making, using, offering for sale, or selling their inventions. The doctrine of patent exhaustion has imposed a limit on that right to exclude when a patentee sells an item, that product is no longer within the limits of the patent monopoly, and instead becomes the private individual property of the purchaser.
Mm-hmm. I believe also I heard in a legal case somewhere on the YouTubes that the copyrights and the patent laws are there to promote the invention, to promote the free thought and creation of new and interesting ideas and interesting products.
Correct.
They are not there to stifle creativity. And once the product starts stifling creativity, it no longer becomes enforceable by law.
Right, because the point of a patent isn't to invent something and then always own it forever, and then have a monopoly on it and just sell it. And no, because otherwise cell phones would still only come from one place. Otherwise computers would still only come from one place, and they obviously don't. So I'm not sure why people get that idea.
Actually, an interesting story I'm going to tell you now. You know that 3D printing exploded around 2012, right? Somewhere around
Yeah.
2010, 10-ish, right?
Yeah.
You know why?
Not precisely.
Because patents on the technology
Ran out.
ran out.
Mm.
Yes, the technology was known from the early 70s, but because there was a patent on it, and the company that held that patent didn't really have the interest in the technology, but they did have interest in basically stopping the distribution of the technology. For 40 years, we didn't have 3D printing.
Correct. Because
For
one company invented it and said, I am going to hold this country. I'm going to
I
hold
don't
this from
think
the
they
world.
even invented it. I think they just bought the
Yeah,
patent.
they just got their hands on the patent. And the thing is
And for 40 years,
yeah,
our
40
technology,
years.
3D printing
40
technology, right
years.
now would be 40 years in the future, and it didn't because of the patent laws.
Now, to be fair, other countries aren't hit by this as hard. Like Japan has been able to shoot forward pretty hard on this.
Yeah, but still, the general idea is, what's the point of the law that's supposed to protect creativity and give the inventors the uh, drive to basically ability to live off of their inventions, that stifles the creativity of those inventors, that stifles the progress of technologies? I think, I if that's going to hit the public really hard very soon, we're going to see the world without copyright and without patent laws as we know them today.
Well, yeah, I'm in. We're gonna reach a point where people will have to be able to instantly produce what they need to get their job done, and
Yes.
it
Hmm.
in a way that does not require cold-blooded capitalism.
Yes, basically, the our world is running towards a future where everything, all the mundane works, will be automated by machinery. In that kind of world, products are no longer valuable. What is valuable are ideas and intellectual property, and basically the ability to generate new kinds of content. And I don't know how copyright and patent laws will look in the world like that. And we're going there. It's inevitable. But yeah, now how does this case in now to turn the conversation back around? How does this case will affect gaming? That's the question.
Because this this is this has a very important thing for gaming, because as the ruling suggests, is once you sell something, the person owns it. Now,
Yes. So when I buy a video game, I
do
do
I
not
own the
own.
video game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if I buy a video game, technically, right now as it stands, I buy the right to play this game,
correct,
but I do not own the right to modify it or resell it
correct,
if I, for example, get bored with it.
right.
So
That's the funny thing is people want their cake and eat it too. Is the way they explain it is you're not allowed to bitch about how this game isn't fair to you because you don't own it. However, they're the same crowd that says, "By the way, did you see that new Fallout 4 mod?"
precisely, technically, modifications to the
Is
game's mods
illegal.
are illegal because people who do, well, that depends on the game, of course, but people who modify the games are acting directly against the EULA, which states that you have no right to modify the game to. You cannot rip out its copyright protection logs. You have no right to do any of the sort. You do not have the right to do the same to consoles. If you buy a console, you cannot modify it. You cannot change it. You cannot open it up, because that will void its warranty. It will void its basically, you once you modify a product that you bought, you officially are you officially became a criminal.
Yeah.
And the court case, as it stands right now, makes it so that, especially with the fact that patent laws and copyright laws are so similar to each other, will make it so that we finally, as gamers, we will reclaim the right to own our games. Back in the day, the game of the cartridges and floppy disks, once you bought a game on a CD-ROM, on a floppy disk, or a set of them, you owned it. You could resell it, and it was all legal. You could modify it. It was legal. And now it is not possible, because games are no longer products. They are services. There are monthly payments for the games. There are microtransactions in single-player games, like Dead Space. This is all what corporations have done to our mediums, because they are there not to provide us with a good products. They are there to make as much money as quickly as possible, because that's how the market shares work.
Yeah.
You are from the point of view of someone who buys and sells shares in companies. You want to buy shares in a company that grows the quickest, because that entails the fact that you're going to get back the money if you resell it, but also you're going to get if the company grows quickly, and if it grows a lot quickly. So that basically translates to direct profits to you. If a company is worth the same amount of money, no matter how much, how good they are, and how much prestige they have in the world, no one would want to invest in such a company, because there's no profit in it.
Yeah. And that's also kind of an interesting thing for the concept of crowdfunding, because crowdfunding's been this interesting nebulous thing.
Yes, because it does not promise that you're going to get your product. Only the fact that you can fund the product that you think you like, and you want to support its development. However, there are problems with that, because there are scammers who go on such portals, such kickstarting crowdsourcing portals, and trying to exploit them. And I know that crowdsourcing services like Patreon, like Kickstarter, like I don't know what else is there, but
Like
they have to
GoFundMe,
invest.
Indiegogo.
Yeah, they have to invest a lot of money into detecting and removing frauds before before too much damage is going to be done, because they have vested interest in it. If their platform is going to be known that there's a lot of fraud going around, no one will want to fund anyone through it.
Yeah,
and
no one's
that
going to
means
use it if there's a bunch
no
of frauds
profit.
on there.
We're moving at deep topics today.
Yeah, here's a bunch of miniatures. Now about the Supreme Court.
Yes. Pretty much.
Okay, moving on to answers not a single person wanted. But we're
Also
giving
known
them
as the
anyway.
segment Answers Nobody Wanted.
Not a person. Not a person wanted this. So, the worst thing to say to a new DM. Mega Man 99M writes, after asking the 30-minute late player, hey, did you make a backstory, try to level up? He responded, bitch, unlike all of you, I have a life, and I don't have time to play a game.
Then what the fuck are you doing here?
I don't know. Why are you here? Get the fuck out.
Why have you came here?
Why are you in my house?
Yes. Why did you bother to show up? That kind of attitude is fucking pissing me off because you just ruined a game for an entire group of people.
Yeah,
I really don't know.
It's all psychology. It really is.
How fucking dare you? First of all, this is something that we enjoy. This is something that that is our hobby. This is something that we invest our time because we want to have fun. And you fucker come over and say, oh, I have a life. Well, fuck you. No, you don't have a life.
No.
Because you have hobbies too, and if you have hobbies, you also have no life. If you don't have hobbies, then you're on a highway to fucking suicide.
Yeah, cause
you like sports? Guess what? It's a fucking hobby. Yes, you are a nerd for liking your football team or your baseball team or what the fuck have you.
You wear their colors, you do all that, and then besides, let's go through this argument seriously. I have a life unlike you. Why? For number one. That is the most nebulous rhetorical claim I've ever fucking heard, and that's why I just stopped thinking about it as if it was a real thing, because it's an excuse and an insult at the same time. You're saying that you have better things to do, and what you do isn't important whatsoever at all. Now, let's look at your life. Quote. You have a wage slave job, and
we're projecting here, but stay with us.
Projecting, but you have a wage slave job, and you go to parties, and you hang out with girls, and you get drunk, and you vomit, and all that. And you watch your sports and things, and that takes hours, if not days, and you spend days just walking around malls, just shopping. Like, how's that a fucking life? Those are the hobbies too. Everything I just described, those besides the wage slave job, that's all ways to spend your time. So I would argue that's an extremely inefficient way to spend your time, going to parties, getting drunk, and not like that's just a way you wind down. The way we wind down is we get around a table and we pretend we're elves and shit.
Is it wrong? Is it bad? No, it's not.
It's not.
We respect your hobbies. Respect fucking ours. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. I I don't walk around saying, if you think sports are awesome, you're a dick. I don't. I like sports too. I don't watch them often, but I like them.
And most importantly, we understand why someone might like them. So we have at least enough empathy to fucking accept that you have your own time, and you come over to us trying to completely throw a wrench into the works of our entertainment and expect to be funny.
Well, that's the bullying thing that I never understood. It's hey, I was making a joke. Why do you have to be such a moron? Like, wait, what? Hold on. Time out, time out. Like, again, I don't walk into whatever you're doing and make fun of you. I don't do that. I do it reflexively. So, or reactively, I I don't understand why it's cool to make fun of someone and all just have the group, oh, look at that guy, he's different. Look at that guy, he's different. You're just being a dick. And walking into our game and doing that, you're just being a dick. You're not being funny, you're not making a joke, you're just being a dick. And it's this Trump level mental gymnastics where if you never admit it, it's not true. Fuck you. You're just being a dick. Moving on.
Yes, let's move on because
Rant over. Now, to be fair, people have come to this guy with overwhelming support. He got like 2,000 upvotes. And I kind of like this part because it shows that this was really a person and it wasn't just a copy pasta.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've covered copy pasta on the show before. Like that one copy pasta that we read
I
once.
don't care whether what we're talking about is copy pasta or not.
I kind of do.
Because it's an interesting topic to cover, whether it's a copy pasta or not.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think it's copy pasta.
And it's good. The important thing is that a community came around to actually support the guy and give the guy a little bit of a leg up because he definitely needs it.
Yeah, because this guy even says right here, like the core rules of D&D: don't be a dick and be a creative. DM has final say. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That is it.
Well, third rule: have fun.
And have fun, because I used to get that a lot, especially in when I was showing people new games. Is they'd see the book and go, I don't have time for that.
It's 16 pages. You have time to play Flappy Bird. You have time to play what was it? The Angry Birds. You have time to read 16 pages of a book.
Well, it's because they think it's because their impression of what a rule book looks like is it's literally a high school textbook.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it might be nothing like it. It
might be the stick.
It's a stick, but it's not a textbook.
Yeah, it might be a thick, but you don't have to read it all.
No,
just read the parts that pretend to what you want to do.
Yeah.
And guess what? There's an index there that helps you with that.
Well, there's the index, and the content table of contents for fifth is really good.
Yeah. Every single concept is alphabetized, numerized, and available.
Yeah, like there's a section for combat, there's a section for classes, backgrounds. It's all there, and people, and I love the people that join my group and then start bitching about how the book's not organized. I'm like, come on, yes it is. Did you see 3?
To be fair, some books are not, but that's more due to like uh, more fringe books are like that, or whenever publishers are trying to get creative with fluff. But there are cheat sheets available on the net. There are calculators that you can use that other people have crafted. If you want to, you can create your own. There's nothing stopping you to do that.
Indeed.
There are role-playing games have widespread, maybe not compared to Game of Thrones, but they are popular. There are people, and most of them are geeks. Yes, that's true, who are enjoying it, and because they are geeks, they also know how to create time-saving tools.
Let's talk about some extremely nerdy people that will never amount to anything because they play role-playing games. Remember, these people will
Bill Gates.
These people will never amount to anything. Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
He never went on to do anything because he played role-playing games. Tom Middleditch. He wasn't in a nominated show. Who else? Well, I mean, there's Dan Harmon. He's.
There's obviously Bill Gates.
There's Bill Gates. Who's heard of him?
Yeah. There's Lord British, who basically created an entire entertainment empire on his love for D&D.
Yeah, it's not like he helped pioneer the RPG genre of video games as we know it. So this notion that we have no life because of what we do, no way. It's not real.
Fuck you.
Not true.
Everyone needs a hobby. Everyone needs to unwind and have fun. And this is basically how we do it. We respect your hobbies, respect ours.
Yeah, it's like I can't get over this. I don't walk into your
I know,
place.
it just boils your blood, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't walk into what you do to have fun and knock shit over and go, what you do is stupid. I don't do that.
Yeah, we don't come into fucking living rooms when there's Super Bowl on, stand in front of the fucking TV and turn it off because you need to go to work. You need to go and mow the lawn.
Sports are stupid because we can just do
Get
math and
alive.
come to the same conclusions. It's like,
Stop drinking all that beer.
Stop drinking that beer. It makes you fat. Fatter than me. Look at me. I'm fat. You don't want to be like me, do you? Because I'm a nerd. I'm like, come on. We don't do that. Yet, these people do. They come onto our forums and they're like, you guys are losers.
On the subject of respecting...
They roll down their windows and call us faggots while they drive by. We don't do that. We don't.
Also, on a subject of respecting other people's hobbies and entertainments, I have a pet peeve with parents who basically walk in on their children, me included, and say, "Oh, you play the video games your entire day. You're never going to amount to anything, right?" While they return and watch the fucking soap operas all day.
Yeah.
On the TV. That kind of hypocrisy is kind of tickling me the wrong way.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, that's the two things that I thankfully was Californian enough to never have is being in the closet and and having a parent that didn't understand video games.
Hmm.
Is I never had either of those because I remember one day I came home from school and Diablo 2 was just sitting there on the desk. And I was like, is this a demo? Is
Is
what?
this a dream?
Is this, we have it? What? Because it had been in PC Gamer, like in a giant article that I was reading front and back, front and back. It was so interesting. And then we had it.
Yay! I fucking never going to understand the parents who are looking at the front cover because we no longer get the those awesome heavy metal front covers anymore,
Yeah,
right?
those
We
went
don't get the
away.
demons with fucking horns and pentagrams in the background. We are not getting the hell flames or the fucking motorbike with skull motifs on them. No, we have the same face on a blue and orange background.
Well, that's kind of what made the old games so awesome is they had these heavy metal inspired covers.
Yeah, they were going all out into the to make the game as entertaining as possible because the graphics were shit, the
Yeah.
programming was shit, there was bugs up the fucking ass, but you know what? They had the balls to fucking go all the way into the world of the game and make it so that you got excited about it.
Yeah,
Right now we
and
have graphics and oh yeah, game with a new graphic. Yeah. Same fucking Call of Duty fucking 64 point uh, Call of Duty 64 Medal of Honor.
oh yeah, that was the greatest thing about games like or rather about heavy metal albums is you'd see the cover and you'd go, "Wow, I can't wait to listen to this and be put in this world."
Hmm.
And now unfortunately that's kind of gone. But anyways, that's our show. We ranted through
Sorry
it pretty.
about the ranting, but sorry
Oh
not
yeah,
sorry.
we ranted
Hashtag.
hard this time.
Yeah, it feels good to have such a catharsis.
Feels good, man.
Hmm. See ya later.
Later, later.